Hey, it's Pete here.
Hey, and it's Justin.
And we're back for our journey to the Bermuda Bowl, which we're almost there.
Almost there. We're getting there. Bonjour. We're on our way to France.
Yeah. 8 days to go, and then the event kicks off. So what have we been up to the last while?
Well, we've come back from a fairly hefty schedule of playing. Basically, after my 7 weeks straight away, we had a couple of tournaments where the 2 weeks in Asia, while I wasn't... I went to Italy, which is why you had Ben for the last instalment. Ben, work on your screen manner. Not very good. Then we went to Japan. And Japan, we had a bit more of a rough time of things, particularly as a pair. We had a rather poor tournament. And we were going back and looking at what we did wrong. And basically we found that we had quite a decent first day. We were doing very well. Then we started getting into a bit of a bad mood on the second day. We didn't have great sleep. I'd just come from Europe, so I was a bit jet lagged. Not optimal preparation. And then we just got in a bad mood. And we didn't have a way of getting ourselves out of it. We basically just continued on as if nothing was wrong. We didn't address the problem. And what we found was that sort of flowed onto the rest of the team as well. When you've got a bad feeling in one of your pairs, it really does affect the rest of the team. The rest of the team sees you being negative. You sit there and you go, oh, I just really want to sit out. I'm not feeling well. Or you do this, and it just makes it so much harder on the rest of your team. So this is something we've been looking at. How can we change that? We're basically bringing Laura along for Pete, so when he gets in a bad mood, we can sort it out. But yeah, so we've been working a fair bit on that, and in the meantime, Pete's also been off winning the ANC, just another scalp for the old Pete Hollins.
Yeah, so went away and played an event with Mike Ware, who's from New Zealand. So I got to learn about their strengths and weaknesses, mainly weaknesses. But it was great fun. It was good to actually play some good solid bridge and get down to like the roots of it and know that you can still play well. And so that was all pretty good. And addressing like one of the things from Japan was that like when you play badly and you lose, you just keep drawing bad teams, so you can't. You keep drawing good teams, so you just always... You don't get that rebound effect. Whereas here at the ANC, I had a bad couple of matches, played some people that were a bit worse, got a good score. I was like, yeah, all good about myself. So one thing that we have to do for while we're away, though, is make sure that when we have those bad matches that we come up with new ways to stay positive. So,
You've got to remember, we're playing a 2-week-long event where you're playing every day, you're playing 6 to 10 hours a day, you're going to have bad matches. That's actually the thing. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And we've got to remember that when we're playing and realise that, hey, you're going to go from a day where you play Italy in the morning, USA in the afternoon, the Dutch in the evening, and you could lose all of them by a maximum, but you can still come back tomorrow and win every one of your next matches by a maximum. Doesn't matter if you have a few bad matches, it's about not making it more than one. Or more than 3.
But staying positive, because what we realised is when we're happy and we're positive, we play from between average to really good. When we're in a really bad mood, it's from really badly to below average. So
below average is the dream. You live in the dream with below average. So it's going through and just saying, all right, that's behind us. For us, we'll go have a few, glasses of plonk. A couple of nice red wines. We're not too far from Bordeaux, so I'm sure we can find a few. Lyon's probably got a few nice wineries of its own floating around, so we'll be able to work a few things out within reason.
Yeah, so basically main takeaway from those events is find a way to stay positive when the bad matches actually happen, because that helps us so much when we're actually staying positive.
Yeah.
But what else have we been doing in the lead up?
Well, we've been sort of ramping up things over the last couple of months with basically between us we've played almost every day since in the last 2 months. And leading up over the last couple of weeks, what we've been doing is putting in a bit more of structured practice. So previously it's just been playing lots, trying to make sure that you're in the right mode. Over the last couple of weeks, just making sure those little nuts and bolts are fixed up. So we've organised a few live games with people. So we had our coach Ben Thompson, his partner Bill Jacobs, who were on the Australian team last year. We had a practice match with them behind screens, played 30 boards. That was all good.
I think the main thing was that we wanted to replicate. I think the main thing was we wanted to replicate what was actually going to happen in the world. So behind screens, we were playing 16 board stanzas. We had got it so we could write down things. Yeah. Tried to make it as serious and as proper, realistic preparation as we actually could.
Which is one of the reasons we picked Bill and Ben, because we needed somebody slow enough. And all the other players in Victoria sadly don't suffer from that problem. Yeah. So Bill and Ben were a perfect practice for us, and thanks for helping us out, guys. The other thing that we've been doing is we've been doing more of these bidding sets that the Irish guy Amon has sent through, which have been really helpful. Going through and just working out those little bits and pieces where you go, I know what I'm doing here, but it's then actually going through and having 60 boards on the same topic, and you go, okay, we're kind of guessing a little bit in this area, tightening up and making a bit more agreement, a bit more system structured, so that hopefully when it comes up, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, so one of those sets that we really tightened up in that area was when your partner overcalls and you then bid a new suit, which isn't a particularly frequent situation, but how you actually untangle this is kind of complicated, especially when you've got really aggressive overcalls. So we went through and made sure we had we knew our agreements well about what continuations were over that, where previously we didn't have as solid information on that.
Yeah, lots of times you sit there and you go, okay, well, this bid's just invitational. You go, okay, that bid's game forcing, that bid's this, but what is actually invitational in the context of you might overcall with a 6 count and you might overcall with an 18 count.
Yeah.
So if you've got to range that wide, what is actually invitational opposite that going through, and then again also being able to say, what is a rubbish hand? How do I tell partner that I've overcalled on a 6 count rather than the 12 count or rather than the 15 count? So we went through and we sorted all that out, hopefully.
We'll find new holes in our system, don't worry.
You're always gonna find them, but hopefully when it comes to what we're doing over the next week leading up to the tournament, I'll hopefully find a few of those out when I do my preparation. What do you do when you're preparing once we get to Europe?
Yeah, so we're heading off to Europe, and we've got a few days before that where what I like to do is make sure that just with the card play I'm completely ready. So I like to do like bridge master hands and things like that, where I know like I can see these, just do these end plays, make them sort of routine so that when I'm at the table I don't need to stress myself doing that. And when I get to like the early days of a tournament, I like to actually play just a couple of hands against the robots just beforehand, just so I feel warmed up, because most mistakes people make are in the first couple of hands.
Or the last couple.
Yeah.
So one of those things that I do when I'm preparing is getting myself into a point where I get myself going, okay, there's going to be certain triggers that I give myself to go, okay, I just need to stand up and grab a glass of water. I'm feeling myself getting a bit tired. These are big things that I do for myself when I'm getting ready, because both Pete and I play quite a high pressure, emotional game, that if things start going a bit wrong, we haven't had the sort of foresight to stand up, break up the game. We've just sort of powered through going, I hate you. Why do you do this to me? You just sort of got to break it up, you know. So for me, I'm sort of spending a lot of time just going, okay, whenever I feel myself doing this, this is what I'm going to do. I get myself sort of mentally prepared for the good and the bad. And the other thing that I do is I go through all our system notes, because I'm the one who has them and writes them. And I go back through and I rewrite them. So this way, it's for me, it's making sure that I remember them. And if I rewrite them different to what's on our actual system notes, then I know that I'm not comfortable with this area. I go back over it. I check with Pete to confirm that he might be on a different wavelength. These are the main things that I'm doing. So I actually fly into Spain on the 7th. And I've got 3 days in Spain where having a few glasses of sangria each day, going over the system notes, 6-hour train ride up to Lyon. That'll give me 4 days of good preparation in the warm-up, get acclimatised, Not
Get
going to
over
sit
jet
there,
lag.
get over jet lag, not get in there and feel, okay, I'm a bit tired, I can't play the first match, it's been a long day, I think I need to sit at the last. Beach 'em. So what are we doing as a team once we get to Lyon?
Yeah, so as a team, we're organising the last couple of days, just get some actual boards played. Not too much that you're going to get tired, but enough that you get familiarise yourself with the venue and actually play some cards and get some of the cobwebs out. Because when you actually travel to these events, sometimes that's like the longest break without playing bridge you have before doing it, because you travel to Europe, then you have a couple of days acclimatising, and if you don't play bridge during those days, that's like 5 days not playing bridge, which for most of us is longer than we actually ever have. So.
Yeah, basically, you never spend 5 days not playing bridge unless you're travelling.
Yeah.
So therefore, getting to an event and having 5 days off, and this has probably been a big reason why Australia's always started very slowly, is most other teams have this as just a natural part of their preparation, that they get there early, they have their practice games. Australia, we get there, we acclimatise, we say, nah, it's a long event, and we do nothing. And Australia starts off, and by the time we got to the first round robin, or halfway through the event, as we did in Asia, we were out of contention.
So here we're going to have some practice matches, get the team ready, and hopefully kick it off with a good start and give them a good run for their money.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to it, and we'd like to thank you all for following on our journey to the Bermuda Bowl. It's been good, and we're going to wrap up at the end and talk about, once we've finished the tournament, we're going to go through and say what we'd do differently if we approached it next time, what worked well, what didn't. Will we keep playing together? Do we hate each other? All those good things in life.
All right, thanks all.
Thanks very much.
See ya.